I have known people who will take money in their mind's eye and actually feel it, and it's not present, and smell it and count it off. And then it happens just like that. Man is not completely confined to the little garment and the five senses through which contact is made with the world. He has imagination. Imagination is God. That's the potter. We are told that the simple apprehension of corporeal objects, if present, is sense. That is sense perceived. This is now sense perceived. I can see you, and if you speak and I hear you, that is sense perceived and you are present. Therefore, that is real, they say. If absent, it is imagination. In other words, it isn't real. It isn't sense perceived. Now we'll take one of the senses. We'll take the sense of smell. Since smell is a chemical sense, a contact is necessary for perception. You have to actually have a chemical contact to smell in this world. Now I ask you to join with me. Maybe you do not like flowers as I do. Can you smell a rose? And it's not present. There aren't any roses here or in your presence. But can you now imagine a rose and smell it? I can. It's so distinct. Well, if the rose is not here when I smell it, why is its fragrance in the air? When it depends upon a chemical contact. You cannot smell anything in this world without a chemical contact. I go into the kitchen, I smell gas, and it's not lit, but I notice I smell gas. It's a chemical contact. Then I notice that the wind, leaving the window open, blew out the little pilot light. I turn it on and nothing happens. Therefore I know the pilot is gone. And I light it. But I could smell that was a chemical contact. If I could not detect it, I could just simply become asphyxiated. If I had lost that olfactory nerve and could not reach that chemical contact. But now here, there's no rose, and I can actually smell a rose. Now, you say, well, what does that mean? It means so much to me. You can smell money. Money has an odor unlike anything in this world. Entirely different. You can actually take it and smell it. A money bag is more fragrant to the miser than all the flowers of the world. It's a pleasant odor to him. Not to me. I need money. I have to have money to pay all the normal expenses in this world. But it's not to me a fragrant odor. But I use this principle towards getting money, towards meeting all the obligations of life. For I am obligated as you are. So I go down to the potter's house. Well, I can sit in a chair. I can stand at a bar. I can do it wherever I am right there in the potter's house, for I have found the potter. The potter is my imagination. So I don't have to go any place outside of where I stand to be in the potter's house. And now I will see what he's doing. So I see what I'm doing. What am I imagining? For that's what he's working on. So I went down to the potter's house and I simply saw what he was doing. What am I imagining? Is it a good image that I am forming of myself and my friends and things that I love in this world? Or am I critical? Am I simply making a mess of the talent? I find quite often I am not using it wisely. I tell you that the worship of God is to use His gifts. That's the only way you really worship God. He gave you a talent. Well, the talent is Himself. It comes through, naturally, the five senses. I may be denied 4 of them, as many are born minus 1, 2, 3, or maybe 4. Most would have the sense of touch, but some are born blind, or they go blind. Some go deaf. Some lost the sense of sound, speech. All these things, but nevertheless, I can use in my imagination all these talents. Physically, they may be denied me, but I still have an open door from within, and I can use it from within. I need not actually have them all open on the outside if I'm born restricted. I can still call upon them from within, as I do now, to smell the rose. A friend of mine, she's gone from this world now. In New York City many, many years ago, I told a story similar to this tonight. And sitting in my audience, she said, well, now, I'm going to test this. And in the silence, she embraced a huge bouquet of roses. She lived in the Towers, the Waldorf Astoria. So when she went home that night, as she went down the hallway towards her room, she detected a strong odor of roses. And she stopped at one door, thinking it might be fear. It was permeating the entire hallway. She kept on going, and it got stronger and stronger. And when she opened her door, here were 36 long beauties on her bureau. The window was open just a little bit, and it came bringing the odor through into the hallway. There was no note on it, but here were these lovely roses. The next day, she was informed how it happened. That night, the English-speaking Union gave a party for the present Queen's mother, who was Queen Elizabeth, but not Queen in the true sense of the word. She was George's wife. But she was Queen while he reigned. And they had these enormous flowers raised for the occasion. And at the end of the banquet, and 1,000 of them sat at this dinner, they wondered what to do with the roses. And the head waiter said, well, Mrs. Niemeyer loves flowers, especially roses. Send 36 up to her room. You either throw them away or find some way to use them wisely. And so Mrs. Niemeyer was given 36 of these beauties, which she certainly did not expect, but she thought she would try it. And she embraced in her mind's eye, she could smell the roses. And then came 36 beauties into her room. We are living in a world of imagination. If I say to the average person who believes in God, the whole vast world was created by God. We are living in a world of God. They would bow and admit to that. But let me say, the world in which we live is a world of imagination. And they hold their hand up. Wait a minute. This is real. What you imagine is unreal. And yet everything they tell me is real was once only imagined. The clothes you wear had to be first imagined. The chairs in which you are seated, the building in which we are now housed, everything first had to be imagined before it was objectified and executed in this world. So what is now real to us and seemingly an objective fact was once only imagined. We had to imagine going to the moon before we did it. And everything here was in the potter's hand. And that potter is your own wonderful human imagination.